You know that moment when someone underestimates you so badly, they practically hand you the blueprint for their own downfall? That's exactly what happened to me. The day my son's wife stood in the doorway of my own kitchen and told me I wasn't welcome in my house anymore. She thought she'd just erased me from my own life, but she had no idea what kind of foundations I'd built or how her arrogance was about to blow up in her face. Before we continue, subscribe to Silken Real Life Revenge. Click the notification bell because we have new stories every single day. Leave a like and tell us in the comments what city you're watching from. The words came from my daughter-in-law, standing there like she owned the place. Alaric, I think it's time you found somewhere else to live. Her tone was syrup sweet, but her eyes were ice cold. My son, Vincent, stood behind her, twisting his wedding ring, avoiding my gaze. Silence stretched between us like a canyon. I'd lived in this house for 32 years. Built it with my late wife, Margaret, from the ground up. Every floorboard, every coat of paint held our memories. Now, Bianca, who'd been part of this family for barely 2 years, was trying to evict me from my own history. I didn't shout, didn't argue. I just nodded, turned, and went to my room. Something inside me shifted that night. Not anger, exactly. Something colder, more patient. As I packed my things, I looked at a framed photo of Margaret on my dresser and remembered her words. Keep the important papers safe, Alaric. You never know when you'll need them. I smiled. Oh, how right she'd been. Margaret. And I bought this land when Vincent was just 3. We were young, broke, and stupidly hopeful. The property sat on the edge of Riverside, overlooking a valley where morning mist gathered like silk. I worked construction during the day and built our home by night. Margaret holding flashlights while I hammered beams. Vincent asleep in a playpen nearby. It took 4 years. For years of sawdust, sweat, and sacrifice. When Margaret passed 7 years ago, this house became my anchor. Every corner whispered her presence. The porch swing she painted, the kitchen island she sanded smooth, the rose garden she planted with her bare hands. I'd promised to keep it beautiful. Bianca wanted to erase that promise. But what she didn't know was that Margaret and I had protected this home long ago, not just with nails and wood, but with paperwork. Very specific, very binding paperwork. Bianca entered our lives like a summer breeze, polished, confident, and full of ambition. Vincent met her at a corporate conference in Seattle. She was charming enough that even I wanted to believe in her. At their wedding, she called me Dad and swore we'd be close forever. But soon, small cracks appeared. Her compliments felt rehearsed. Her questions about the house too pointed. This property must be worth a lot now, she'd say casually. Ever think about downsizing, Alaric? I'd smile and change the subject. Then one day she asked, Is Vincent's name on the house too? I told her no. It was in mine alone. Her smile froze for a heartbeat. That's when I realized what she was really after. It started slowly. Mail disappearing. Bills lost. She began helping with the household accounts, claiming I was forgetting things. You left the stove on again, she'd say, except I hadn't cooked that day. Vincent, I found your dad's pills scattered on the floor, she'd add, frowning with concern. She was building a story, painting me as forgetful, unstable, in decline. And Vincent began to believe her. Dad, maybe we should talk to a doctor, he'd say gently. I saw what she was doing, and I said nothing. I simply documented everything, every lie, every trick, in a journal I kept locked in my truck. So when Bianca finally told me to leave my own home, I didn't fight. I just let her think she'd won. I moved into a small apartment downtown, close enough to watch, far enough to plan. Before I left, I looked around one last time, touched the window frames Margaret had painted, and whispered her photo. Watch this, love. Just watch. That Monday, I went to see Harrison Cole, my oldest friend and our family attorney. He'd helped Margaret and me set up our estate plan years ago. I handed him a folder. He read through the documents and looked up, smiling. She doesn't know, does she? No, I said. Not yet. Margaret and I had placed the property in an irrevocable trust years ago. I was the sole trustee and beneficiary until death. Vincent would inherit someday, but not yet. Even I couldn't transfer ownership now. Harrison leaned back. What do you want to do? Let her continue, I said. Let her think she's winning. Then we'll act when the time comes. And so we built my quiet defense. Not a wall, a net. Invisible, but unbreakable. Our longtime housekeeper, Diane, stayed behind. Bianca couldn't touch her contract. It was paid from a separate account. Diane became my eyes and ears. Soon, photos started rolling in. Bianca redecorated my bedroom, turning it into a guest suite. Arthur's, Margaret's, books, gone. The warm oak cabinets, painted gray. The rose garden, ripped up. Each photo was a dagger. But I didn't stop her. Every image went into my evidence folder. Then Diane sent a photo that made me smile. A rejection letter from the bank. Bianca had tried to refinance the house, only to learn the property had no mortgage and wasn't in her name. That was her first crack of panic, and I knew it wouldn't be her last. 2 months later, she hosted a new chapter garden party. 50 guests, catered food, live music. Her moment of triumph. I parked down the road, watching from the trees. Bianca glided through the crowd like a queen, raising her glass. To new beginnings and beautiful homes. I whispered, enjoy it while it lasts. Because the next morning, I call Harrison. It's time. She'd gone too far. Bianca had listed the house for sale. Photos, price, everything. But she couldn't sell what she didn't own. Within days, Harrison filed a motion freezing the property sale. The real estate agent received legal notice and withdrew immediately. When Vincent came home that evening, Diane told me there was shouting. Bianca screaming, your father did this. And she was right. A week later, Harrison called a meeting. Vincent and Bianca arrived, she furious. He exhausted. Harrison calmly explained the trust. Margaret and I had ensured the property was protected. I was a sole trustee. No sale could ever happen without my consent. Vincent's confusion turned to shock. Bianca's rage turned to panic. You let us think we could sell, she shouted. I met her gaze. I wanted my son to see who was really manipulating whom. When the truth finally sank in, her facade shattered. She ranted, accused, blamed. Harrison simply slid a folder across the table, full of evidence. Intercepted mail, falsified stories, the attempted bank fraud. Vincent's eyes opened in that moment. He saw her, really saw her. And that was the end. He came to my apartment that night, trembling. Dad, I'm sorry. I thought you were losing it. I smiled softly. You needed to see for yourself. Otherwise, you'd never believe me. He cried, and I held him like I had when he was little. News spread fast. Bianca's reputation crumbled just as quickly as her lies. The woman who tried to erase me was now being erased from the social circles she'd fought to control. Debt followed. Creditors called. And when she asked Vincent to take out loans to get them through this rough patch, he finally said no. Within months, the house fell silent. No more parties. No more laughter. Just tension and regret. Vincent filed for divorce. And when it was done, Bianca left with nothing but her own regrets. When I finally walked back into my home, it felt alive again. Vincent had restored the kitchen, brought back the curtains Margaret had sewn, replanted the rose garden. Welcome home, Dad, he said softly. And for the first time in a long while, peace settled in. Weeks later, a letter arrived, Bianca's handwriting sharp and bitter. You planned this. You let me destroy myself. I folded it neatly and placed it in my file. Some lessons teach themselves. Because Margaret was right all along. True protection isn't made of walls. It's made of foresight. And sometimes justice doesn't roar. It whispers. Now, every evening, I sit on the porch, swing Margaret painted, and watch the mist rise over the valley. This isn't a story of revenge. It's a story of patience and the quiet power of refusing to be erased.